Hello Libras and welcome to Timsy Naked Tarot. This will be a general read, so it means it may or may not resonate with you. If it does resonate with you, that is fantastic. If it doesn't resonate with you, don't worry too much. We are doing a read on bringing things to a close, finding a conclusion to the cycle you are in. The way I'll be doing that, I'll be using the runes to do the main energies of a past, present and future about this cycle, and then a possible change energy at the end of that. Okay, we are doing a read on the Temperance card, which came out for you in the All Signs overview. If you haven't seen the All Signs overview, don't worry too much. You just found out that you had the Temperance card coming out in that, but that is for your main rising sign or sun sign. You may be running off of a different sign for this zone. Perhaps you're running off your learning sign or your love sign or your life sign. We all have different signs in our birth chart related to different things what ruled our emotions within the solar system if you go down the astrology routes. Okay, so perhaps that's why this ain't resonating for you, and maybe you should check out the All Signs overview and see if any of the other cards within that resonate for you. Okay, so Temperance. Temperance is all about being patient, taking your time, waiting for things. Things like those who, the best things come to those who wait, or that sort of thing. Okay. I'm sure there is another saying about temperance and waiting, but shall we crack on with it without further ado? So we're dealing with waiting for things. We have got Bacana coming out for our first rune. So this is the past rune. Bacana is a rune of oh god, can't think, gone blank. Oh god. It's a rune. It translates to birch. Okay, the birch tree. It means like growth, regeneration, new beginnings, birth, and family, and the like. Okay, so it's a bit of a positive rune. It's a very positive rune, shall we say? This could be dealing with spiritual development. It could be dealing with the feminine energy within you. It doesn't matter if you're male or female, we all have feminine energies within us. It could be like connection to Mother Earth and things like that. But it's also telling us that you're waiting for this situation to come to an end. Perhaps in the past it already has. Perhaps in the past it come back. It's been reborn as something else, or perhaps this is a cycle to do with the birth of something. It doesn't necessarily have to be a real living person a birth of, or a real living thing. Where you might have been waiting for puppies. I don't know, but it could be an idea and things like that. When it comes to the energies, the universe sees like an idea forming in your head. Maybe you're thinking about writing a book. Maybe you're thinking about starting your own company, going it alone, but you're only thinking about it. The universe sees that as a birth, a rebirth. It sees that as a pregnancy. When you actually start it, it sees it as a birth. So perhaps this is a cycle of something you started a long time ago. You conceived this idea a long time ago, or however it may be, and you just never took it any further than your thought process. I have plenty of these. Okay, and there's the hanging on to it, the Four of Pentacles, the Chariot's coming out as well, and the Three of Cups. Okay, so in the past there was this juggling. Okay, this could be between your old job and your new job, an old relationship, new relationship. It could be between writing the book and not writing the book, if the whole idea you had was about writing books or whatever it may be. With the Four of Pentacles coming out after that. Now, the reason it never got any further than the Two of Pentacles, the reason it just stayed in that, I would juggle it around in my head, or maybe you actually started the whatever it was, maybe you went self-employed, but you kept your old job on as well, just in case. It never got any further. Okay, it got kind of stuck at this. In the past, it got stuck at this beginning, this Bacana. Okay, with the Four of Pentacles coming out on top of that, well, that's an energy of hanging on, or greed, or yeah. So it's sort of telling us that you may have been hanging on to something from the past as well, which is stopping it from driving forward, stopping the chariot. Okay, and don't get me wrong, the Chariot's a strong card, but only once it's up to speed, once it's got going. If you never take the chocks out from underneath the wheels, then it's never going to go anywhere. Okay, and so what you've been hanging on to in the past is stopping you from moving forward with it, because the Chariot is all about forward movement, going in the right direction, winning against the odds. Okay, and then with the Three of Cups there, now this could be a pregnancy for some of you in the past with the Three of Cups. Bacana is indicating births and pregnancies, and or not so much pregnancies, but the birth, the start of something. And this Three of Cups also takes, like the Two of Cups, a couple. Yeah, that's why two is called a couple, because there's two of them. You are a couple into a, I'm not going to use that word, it's into a slightly enlarged circle. A few is what three is when you're talking about it as a group. So it's bringing in an extra energy into the already established two energies you have. Now that could come through as a child being born, or something like that. It does also denote like communication among groups, social networking, group bonding, that sort of thing. Okay, so let's have a look at your present energies. Your present energies is Urus, but Urus is in reverse. Now, Urus is the wild oxen. Okay, it's what we domesticated cows from. We didn't actually domesticate their whole species. We took docile ones from that species and turned them into cattle. Okay, but this is perhaps as currently you have a lot of energy, a lot of strength to be dealing with said thing, what was birthed in the past. Maybe it's the time, maybe it was the finances what weren't quite right in the past, why it was being juggled. I was juggling it because I didn't have the finances to take a year off work and write a book, for example. We weren't really ever planning on having a child so soon in our relationship, and we hadn't really saved for it. Don't worry about that. You never have time. You never have the money. You are never ready. Yeah, no matter how much you think you are, you're never ready for a child in your life. Okay, and so this is talking about the brute force of nature, basically. And it being in reverse, it's either it's telling us there's a block on it still. You might be still hanging on to whatever it was that you were hanging on to in the past, or it could be just saying that this brute force is now unbridled and it's now causing a problem. It's running rampant, it's running wild. It's a bit like you've dammed up a river, okay, and then you poke a hole in your dam. Well, at first it just comes out as a little trickle, but water is a very sort of it's not corrosive, it's an erosion substance. It starts to pick up stuff it's running along with. So your little finger poke in the dam starts to turn into a bigger hole, and eventually it breaks the dam down until there's nothing left of it. We've all been at a beach. We've all dammed up one of those little streams of water trying to get back to the sea. We know what we're talking about. We put the stones down, we back fill it with sand, we front fill it with sand, but eventually that water finds a way through, takes all the sand away, and then erodes around the rocks and just leaves a pile of rocks in the middle of a little streamlet. But we got the Hanged Man coming out here, and we have got the Fool coming out as well, with the Three of no, it's not the Three of Pentacles, but it's the Three of Wands, and the Justice card. Now, whenever a tarot reader does slip up like that, okay, they could argue the point, oh, well, I've got all 78 cards rolling around in my head when I do these reads, and yeah, well, that is very true. But you can clearly see the wands on there, as clear as I can. Why did I call them pentacles? Because this isn't just wands, this is pentacles as well. It's the Three of Pentacles as well as the Three of Wands. It's about working in a team, working towards something new. And that's what it's more of, because it's the Three of Wands. The Three of Wands is all about new horizons, setting your goals. You're wanting to work to something new. You're setting your mind to work into something new. You're not doing it quite yet. Okay, but we've got the Hangman. So we're possibly looking at things from a totally different perspective. Yeah, like I said about never actually having the finances to have a child, never being quite ready to have that child. That's what maybe you're coming around to look at. Maybe I will never have the time to sit down and dedicate totally and solely to the book I want to write. Perhaps it's more of a case of, well, I'm just going to have to grab a couple of hours here, a couple of hours there throughout a day, maybe wake up an hour earlier in the morning, sit down in front of my laptop, do a bit of typing, and then go to work, then come back and spend 2 or 3 hours in the evening doing the same thing. Whatever you're looking at is how to start the new thing, how to start this off. Okay, taking the leap of faith, if you will. But I am being drawn to the dog. Yeah, trying to hold that jester back, that fall back from walking off the edge of the cliff. There are people talking to you, there are people possibly holding you back, possibly stopping you from starting. Okay, whatever it is you're starting, you're setting the intentions for. You've already chosen it. Yeah, the Two of Wands, the choice, you've already made that. You're already passionate about it. The Ace of Wands, and you've already made your passionate beginning about it. And it was in the past, sometime you thought of this and you decided to set your mind to this, but you never got much further than that. With Justice coming out at the end, where that's denoting the balance of like the energies by doing this, but it's also denoting that this could be something to do with the law, something to do, maybe your book you're thinking of writing is like a crime novel. I don't know, it's in your head. We're all on independent journeys. We're all doing our own route to the destination. We all have that same destination. Okay, we all get to an end point, but we all take different routes on getting there. All our little situations are different, but we all deal with the same energies along the way. Okay, so for rune number 3, the past energy is Sawello. Okay, and Sawello, well, that just roughly translates to the sun. Okay, now this is energy, this is good health, this is success. I'm just going to put you on pause for a second while I clear my throat. And hopefully that's got rid of that little wheeze I kept hearing as I was talking. Right. So Sawello is the sun. It's enlightenment. It's a breakthrough. It's saying the future is perhaps where you're going to get, not the idea, but that difference in the way you're thinking at the moment, looking at things from the other side of the fence, where having to sacrifice something. Yeah, that whole getting up an hour earlier, you're sacrificing some of your sleep. If you don't, I don't know, adjust your sleep patterns in the evening, eventually that will catch up with you and you'll end up burnt out. That's just a little personal warning. Okay, but there is this breakthrough. It could just literally be something to do with one sunny day, it all suddenly slots into place. Okay, but it is looking positive in the future for this outcome. And there it is. The world, it all begins. Okay, because everything is set, from having the idea to eventually looking at things from a different perspective, to free up the time or free up the finances, free up the energy, whatever it may be. Yeah, to take the leap and start this. Everything is set. You've put all the ingredients together. You've got your flour, you've got your eggs, you've got your sugar, you've got your chocolate chips. All you have to do now is mix it and cook it. Okay, the magician there, and like, I'm sure we all have our own various jobs. We don't really think anything of those jobs. We've always done them jobs. Well, not maybe always, but you know what you're doing on that job. And I'm sure you've all had people you've looked at, other people's jobs, yeah, where you think, God, wow, that's amazing. I wish I could do something like that. My little story, what goes with this one was, I was watching a plasterer once, and he was basically I work in the as a carpenter. I work in the business, the construction trade and all that. I see many different skills sets being put to use. And I've seen plasterers in the past, and just watching them put plaster on the wall is quite magical. It makes this, whatever wall it is, all nice and smooth and shiny and lovely. But this particular job, I was watching them do a curved ceiling, okay, like an archway, but the whole ceiling was like that. And I was just like mesmerized with how easy they made it look. It just like they just slap it on, and it's just like, I don't know, pasting a beautiful sheet onto it. And I said to him, I said, God, that looks amazing. It looks magic how you do that. And he stopped for a second, and he looked at me and went, well, I think exactly the same about you. When you start putting a door on its hinges, and 5 minutes later walk away, and then you've got a properly functioning door there. That takes me hours to do when I try anything like that. So it's kind of like the magic is there. You've got it all ready. You just don't think you have, because you haven't actually put it all into practice. Obviously, that plaster in the wall has spent like 40 hours a week, X amount of weeks in his life doing plastering. He started right at the bottom and he's worked his way up. He's learned all the tricks of the trade. Everything's ready. You're starting at the bottom, you're working your way up, but yeah, you've learned a lot already. It's time to put all that stuff into practice. Okay, it's telling you, don't fear what you don't know. The strength card coming out here, it's sort of saying that you in the future, you will need to be strong. You will need to find the enthusiasm and the energy to keep on with it. Okay, and then the Queen of Swords coming out right at the end is telling us that you actually know this, yeah, but you're just not taking action on that part of things yet. You might have, some of you might already be in this energy. You might have taken those first tentative steps in whatever you're doing new. Yeah, you might have realized everything is there, but then you might have got frozen with fear. And you know the truth is, fear is the mind killer. We have nothing to fear but fear itself. Who was it who said that? Was that JFK, or was that Eisenhower? I don't know. One of the American presidents said something along the lines of, "We have nothing to fear but fear itself." And this is it. You know this, but you're still kind of letting it block you, hold you back in the past. Okay, there's fear attached to this. There's fear of letting go of whatever it was in the past which was holding you back in the first place, and that fear might still be with you. Okay, but maybe you're just being stronger to overcome it at the moment. Okay, so our last rune is, oh God, can't pronounce this one. I can't pronounce this one. It means the elk. It's in reverse. It can also mean the sage plant, both of which are sort of protective energies. So perhaps in the future you have to be a little bit, or I say perhaps, the other alternative route you can go down here is being protective. Okay, this is Elhaz. Okay, and as I said, it's the elk, it's the sage plant, it's protection, it's defense, but it's also opportunity. And in reverse, maybe you're being overprotective. Maybe there's people you need to talk to about this idea to help you with it, but because you're protective about, or being overprotective about the idea, perhaps you're not talking to those people. Okay, perhaps you're not getting the breakthrough you need because, well, you're defending the idea too much. Perhaps there's a certain thing within the book you want to put in and it's just not working. You just can't shoehorn it in any particular way. Maybe you have to let go of that. Okay, maybe you have to stop protecting it. Whatever it is, we've got the 9 of Swords coming out there. we got the Page of Cups, the Six of Cups, okay, and the Page of Swords. Now, this alternative ending, it keeps you up at night. If it's the idea of like trying to shoehorn something in the book, you keep thinking about different ways to get it in there, different ideas, different approaches, but nothing's kind of working. If I'm just going to stick with the whole idea of putting something in your book which just doesn't really fit, it's going to be like a young love romance based around your happy times in the past, but it's just not working for the type of thing you want to do. Whatever this idea is you're being overly defensive about, so adamant and sure that it's going to be fitted into your plans in the future, it's not going to work, because we've got this like young love here, we've got the reminiscing about the past, but then we've got disappointment, okay, and drama and dramatic messages coming in, dramatic messages coming in, and things like that. And both of these pages are looking at this Six of Cups. Now, the Six of Cups can be a twin flame soul energy, okay, and it could be maybe you're trying to find a position in your job for someone you've known since childhood, and they're like your best friend or whatever, and it's just they don't have the right skill set to do whatever business you're setting up, if it's a business. It could be your like experiences when you were young, when you were in childhood, which you want to try to get into the book, but it just don't work with the type of book you're writing. Yeah, you're writing a crime novel, for example. I think I mentioned that with Justice coming out, and then you're trying to shoehorn this experience of when you went on a train with your parents. Yeah, you can put it in the book as a throwaway thought, a distracting thing, but it's not really generally important to the rest of the book. Not unless, of course, your whole crime novel is about, I don't know, something about that train when you were younger. But still, it's not working. Okay, you're overthinking it. Now, perhaps it's like, stop being so defensive about it. Stop, accept the fact that it might have to be cut, and stop overthinking it so much. And then maybe you might be able to slip a little bit of it in. Maybe you could slip something in what allows that to spur off into something else, planting a seed, or doing a grafting, if you will. Yeah, if you're into gardening or anything like that, sometimes you take a root stock from a plant which is quite vigorous, quite strong growing. It's like a rose fruit. Root stocks are good because it's very hard to get rid of a rose you dig out, and you just leave a little bit of root like that, and it starts growing in a few years' time as another rose bush. So what some gardeners do is they attach other plants to the little stems that come off that root. So then you get like a good sweet tasting apple, but which has always been like needing ideal conditions, and attach it to a root ball which doesn't need those ideal conditions, something that works in the soils around your area. And so you still get that fruit because that root ball is working for the area it knows, and it's supplying the energy and stuff it needs to create the fruit the rest of the tree is actually growing. Okay, obviously that was a bad explanation of grafting plants together, but you know what I mean. It's something there. It's you can play around with things like that. So maybe you graft this in to spur off a new thing. So if you can imagine, you've got a rose bush growing with an apple hanging off the side of it. Well, that apple will create a new thing. Okay, right. So there you go. That is your read. Hopefully it resonates with you. If it does, fantastic. If it don't worry. Okay, not all reads can. As I said, go and check out the All Signs overview I done. It will be the latest one in the weekly energy overview playlist, I think it is. And check out all the other signs. See if anything else sings to you. Maybe that is the one you're working off this week. Okay, so if you like this video, fantastic. Please give me a thumbs up. This doesn't just make me feel better, it also physically helps with the algorithm of YouTube to get my videos promoted out to other people as well. And the like, if you're there hitting the thumbs up button and you haven't already hit the subscribe button, do that as well. You can join this tarot team of mine and get posted on all my videos I release. Not all of them are always like this. Sometimes I do different ones every week, okay, which addresses what some tarot readers say. Like they say, well, if you're watching tarot readers and one week is totally radically different to the next week, well, then they're not doing it right. Well, that's because I'm not following any sort of cycle, okay? Last week I just done general reads, whatever the universe wanted to tell you. This week I'm doing how to bring something to an end, or how the end of your cycle you're currently in is going to happen. Bear in mind, we've got the Kana here, so it may have already happened for you, and maybe you're just hanging on to what the remnants of it, okay? And maybe you're missing out on a wonderful new start because of that. If this didn't resonate with you, don't worry too much. If you didn't like this, don't worry too much. Let me know in the comments what you didn't like about this, and then you can hit the thumbs down button as well to alert me straight away that there is something wrong with this particular video. Obviously, the energies coming off all this, I can't change. Yeah, but I can do different cards. If you don't like the fact that I use runes, let me know. I can phase them out a little bit more. If the lighting's bad, if the sound quality's bad, drop it in the comments. I can't read your mind, and I can't also read your free will. Okay. All that being said, I think I'm done. Thank you very much for spending your time watching this video. I will catch you all on the next one. Until then, enjoy your December.